The moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to eat Froot Loops on television. I mean, drink Froot Loops in Mead. Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Derica, and you're watching City Steading. To learn to grow and brew and take control of your food, hit subscribe now and continue the conversation on social media with our Facebook group, Instagram, our website, and many more options that we will have in the description below for you.
If you're wondering what I'm smiling at, watch till the end of the video. Anyway, so today what we're going to do, we are going to rack our Froot Loops Mead, and we're going to taste it, and we're going to give you some tasting notes on it and see how it turned out. Now, I want you guys to know something. We tasted this along the way, but not as a finished product. And remember, this is the one that got all messed up, and we had to rescue it. We added Safe Ale SO4 to it. This started as the natural ferment, only went to about 5%, which was not anywhere close to what we wanted. Then I added Safe Ale SO4, and well, my hypothesis was correct. My natural yeast that was in there just couldn't keep up. It got to about 5%. As soon as I added Safe Ale SO4, I checked it the other day, and it's somewhere around 13%. So, yeah, that was the problem.
The gardener in me has some queries or pondering notions of why the yeast that we were using did not work on this.
And the brewer in me is wondering what the heck she's talking about.
Our green component for this was lemongrass. Lemongrass naturally repels insects and various other
things. Oh, you think
things.
it's a natural antibiotic? We never even considered that.
There is a possibility that its lemony freshness made for a very weak natural yeast. Thus, trying to use that yeast in a brew where they have to deal with alcohol on top of everything else kind of went...
Or it could just be, by its very nature, wild yeast is wild. Some of them go to like 1%, some of them will go to like 10. That's pretty much about it. They don't go much higher than 10. Sometimes you can, but not usually. So I think the combination of those things is probably the reason.
Right. I think if we had an apple orchard or something, some fruit that we grew in our backyard and used that, which of course would be a completely different product.
But the yeast was actually in the honey, I think. But it could have been both, or a combination of the two. I don't really know, and the yeast are dead now, so I can't ask them.
It's a guess, but it's an educated one. All right, we have our handy-dandy paint can.
Now this was cold crashed as soon as it hit 13%, because I was like, crap, I can't do a video today. We have a wedding to shoot.
So why did we cold crash it?
We cold crashed it to put it into...
stasis.
Stasis, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Basically what it does is it gives me a couple more days to work on it. It also helps it to clear and things like that. There's many reasons for cold crashing. We are going to do a video on that soon. I promise. A lot of people have been asking. We just have so much going on right now that we're trying to keep up with everything. But it did help it clear slightly. It also stopped it from fermenting further just in case it was going to. Because I really didn't want this to go to totally dry. That would be bad.
It's hard from your perspective to see exactly how clear it is.
Because it's condensating.
It's condensating because we just got it out of the refrigerator.
Because it's cold.
But it is clearer than what it was, though it's not crystal clear.
So what I'm going to do is we're going to rack it over, then I'll take a reading just to make sure that it's stable, and then we're going to taste this.
So we sanitized our vessel, we sanitized our racking wand, we have...
The little cap on the bottom.
The little cap on the bottom, so that it'll come in from the side rather than the bottom, and we can put it all the way to the bottom and not worry about gathering leaks.
But you want to go halfway down to start it. That way you don't disturb anything. Once it gets going, a couple more pumps maybe. Oh no, we're good. We're good.
You pump until you see no more air pockets, regardless of what your brewing partner says.
Oh, I can't wait to see what I do with that in editing.
The reason why I said that is Brian lots of times tries to tell me, you're done, and then it stalls. And I understand why he wants me to not overdo it because he doesn't want to aggravate the brew. And
you want to pump it as little as possible.
But you still have to pump it so that it's actually working. So.
By the way, we don't actually bicker as much as you might think. We get along really good. I am a control freak if you haven't figured that out yet. Hey, I can admit it.
I'm not a control freak at all.
Again, can't wait to see what I do with that at editing.
So if you're new to our racking system, the reason why we're using a paint can is to elevate our vessel A, so that way the gravity siphon will work with the lower end for our vessel B.
That's why I use a paint can? I use a paint can to remind Erica that she has yet to paint the living room. What we're experiencing here is a little bit of the sediment on the bottom is kind of, what's the good word?
It's not
It's
compact
It's snotty.
lease cake.
Yeah.
So
Which is unusual. It's SO4 yeast, so I would have thought it would. But,
yeah, but
regardless, sometimes they just don't. And it's okay. We are racking this. This is the first racking of this.
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to get racked again after this. Not a really big deal. We don't want to lose too much volume, basically, though.
But even with that cap, you just don't want to stick it in there and ignore it. You want to actually pay attention.
Yeah, she started watching and she saw some of the milky substances coming through. That, you know, they don't hurt you. There's nothing wrong with it. They just taste a little bitter, trade off flavors, and they make your brew go cloudy. So we want to eliminate that as much as we can. It's not the end of the world, but you know, that kind of thing. The paint can was just fired. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Along the way, when I tasted it, or smelled it, actually, I don't get it in the taste so much, but in the smell, there was a slight sour note, like a sour, like as if some sort of an infection had gotten in, which again, won't hurt you, just isn't exactly what I was going for. Now, I just gave it another smell, and I'm not getting it so much. So I'm wondering if it's just the way the lemongrass is reacting to things. It's entirely possible, because lemongrass is lemony, but it's not lemon. So it's not really citric acid, it's lemon-like. It's a lemon-like product. There's a story behind that. I might tell it someday, just not in this video.
If my brother is watching this video,
He's laughing right now.
He probably is laughing.
So again, drop the hydrometer in, give it a good spin. We want to see where this ends up. Now, ideally, I wanted this to end at like 10:20, 10 to 10:30. We wanted it a little bit sweet. But, you know, the wishes and all that kind of stuff. It actually stopped, it looks to me like 1.014. Which is really weird because the other day it was at 1.010. So don't ask me how it managed to go up a bit. Maybe I just measured it badly the other day. Maybe there's some bubbles on it right now. Let's try again. 10, 12, 1.012. So the bubbles here are starting to affect it. So what I'm actually going to do, we're going to degas this too before we even taste it, because I'm seeing where the bubbles are affecting the hydrometer, so it's very gaseous right now. And that's going to affect flavor. That's going to affect everything. So we want to degas. So we're going to pause for just a second while we go get the degassing whip.
Wand.
Degassing wand, because that's what it's called. I put whip in the description, degassing whip, and the YouTube thing gave me a warning. Not YouTube itself, but one of the programs that we use for helping with stuff gave me a warning that that's a possible demonetization. I was like, for using the word whip?
Devo would be very sad.
Okay, so.
You mean the second?
Yeah. Now, before anybody gives me a hard time for pouring this back in, everything's been sanitized, and I'm stirring this now, so it is creating a cloud of CO2 that's coming out that should protect it. There should be no problems coming out at this point. What I am going to do, though, is give this a good stir. This is how I do it. There's a million ways to do it. Somebody's going to tell me to use a vacuum pump. Yeah, I know. I totally can do that. This works for me. I've never really had a problem. And I know that I'm letting CO2 out, and it's heavier than the air that's around me, so it's not, air's not getting back in. I've not had a problem doing this. I'm stirring really hard in one direction, careful not to spill it over the sides, then I break that and go the other way. You can see a little bit of foam forming on the top. Not as much as I would have expected.
It actually smells really good.
Yeah,
Normally
it really does.
when he degasses, it smells kind of funky.
You get the sulfur hydroxide and the hydrogen sulfide.
But this particular batch, it smells
It's very
nice.
floral, very fruity floral.
Yeah. Like fruit blossoms.
Yeah. Which makes sense, lemongrass. Yeah. But now you can see that foam. That is not air being formed. That's CO2 coming out. If you notice, I'm being very careful to not really go in there hard with air coming in. I'm just agitating the liquid itself. And I'll do this for a few minutes that you won't see. Okay, so I'm done degassing for now. I went for about 5 minutes, gave it a good whip. My arms are a little tired. I'm done. That's as technical as I get on degassing. Some people get really crazy with it. I tend to let my stuff sit for a while so it naturally degasses on its own. But one critical thing is you do not want to leave too much headroom. You do not want to leave, you don't want to let oxygen get in. So I stopped while there's a foam layer here, okay? All that foam is actually going to protect it, and it's all CO2 bubbles. So I do have to take a reading. Oh, I did the reading. We have to taste test.
We're going to take another reading because we were concerned about the gas.
No, I'm not going to take another reading. The reading isn't going to change. I think it's within a couple points of exactly where it's going to be. But we are just going to have a little sip. So we got our samples. I'm going to put the lid back on. Now you'll notice that I'm not putting an airlock on this. Here's why. I ran out. I don't have any more grommeted lids. So this is going to go back in the fridge. That way it won't build up too much pressure, and every day I'll just give it a little burp. I'll do that.
And we're also going to rack it again because of that little bit of release that we sucked up.
Maybe a week.
So putting it in the fridge, we're hoping is going to help it settle.
It'll settle out a little bit faster. Because this doesn't really need to age again so much. I think this has been a while. When did we start this one? It was started.
There was no date.
It's like September or something. So this has been around a while. It's ready to go. We just want to give a taste and get it bottled soon. So here we are. And it's not super clear, but it's not actually like overly cloudy either. Like there's
normally
some
when
decent
something
clarity.
is this young and kind of mid-process, I mean this is done, but we're still going to rack it again, so technically it's almost finished, but not quite.
It smells like lemon pledge.
Normally I'm very hesitant to smell the product because when it's still really young, it tends to have some odors that are less than pleasant.
That's another reason why I degassed it.
And I want to be honest with you, but I don't want to be like, oh my goodness, because that's certainly not enticing.
Makes for funny TV though.
This one smells really nice.
It smells faintly of lemon pledge. I have to be honest. Not in a bad way. Just, you know, that freshness with a little bit of lemon and almost a heady alcohol type clean aroma. It's kind of that.
Brian was futzing with it earlier off camera. And she was like, oh, check this out and stuff. And I was working on a wedding album, so I was kind of like distracted. And he stuck it under my nose, and I'm like, that smells like pledge.
That's right, you did say that.
I did.
That was the other day, yeah.
So that really, it's not a bad scent, but it's certainly not something I want to drink.
Yeah.
So
Spray
now it doesn't smell like pledge to me anymore. It smells
honey lemon.
floral.
With a fruity and floral thing going on.
I happen to like floral infused liqueurs. Brian, not so much, but I like them. I like the lavender ones.
Whiskey.
This one's an elderflower. I like all those things. They make me happy. It's probably the most girliest aspect of me.
Most girliest.
Most
Ooh,
girliest.
Getting with the good speaking today.
Ooh, I speak good. Anyway, so for me, this is reminding me of a floral infused liqueur. The aroma.
As I said, appearance reasonably clear. If I had to give it a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably like a 5. It's not super clear. It's not too cloudy. It'll clear out eventually.
Yeah. But as we may have mentioned in other videos, and we even learned recently from a Mead judge, that clarity
is 3 points out of a possible
really
50.
low on how
it doesn't change the flavor.
People judge.
It's also a pretty modern concept that people want things to be clear. Cilantro. It's remarkably pleasant, but it does have a little greenness to it.
Yeah, it has.
But it's not
that initial
it's not crazy harsh.
Velvety texture, and then it has that sharp acidic tartness. and then it goes back to its different components all melding
But keep in mind,
together.
this is only about 8 or 9 weeks old. This isn't old at all. It tastes like something a lot less new. It tastes like something that's been aged a little bit. It's definitely got a nice balance. The acidity with the sweetness balances well, because I would have thought this would be... Oh, no, that's right. This went further. Sorry, we do a lot of videos in one day.
Yeah, this one went farther.
This went further than it should have, because SO4 usually stops at like 12. This went to around 13. I don't know the exact number. I'd have to figure it out. It'd probably be like right there. But this is nice.
It is really nice.
It's not my favorite ever, but it's nice.
It has a complexity that is beyond what I anticipated it having. So that's kind of cool for me.
I have to make a confession though. It really doesn't taste like Froot Loops.
I have no idea what Froot Loops taste like, so I cannot.
The tea really tastes like Froot Loops. This does taste like Froot Loops. But here's how you have to eat the Froot Loops. You put the Froot Loops into a bowl and pour a bottle of white wine over the top of them. That's what this tastes like. Minus all the extra sugar.
I think this would be a really nice, like, aperitif.
This would be great with fruits.
Because it seems very cleansing to me.
It's almost dry. This came out, at 10, whatever it was. 10,
we didn't do the...
10-12, right there. There it is. Came out at 10-12, so that's considered a semi-dry. It's not even sweet. But I'm not unhappy with it. Don't take that the wrong way. It's just, this didn't come out the way I expected, but it came out nice in a different way than I expected. And that's the cool thing about this hobby. I'd never made this before. It was an idea.
We didn't even know about using lemongrass to make tea until
my friend Ian told me a few months ago.
We visited Ian. Hi, Ian.
And then I wanted to do it, and I'm like, all right, I'm making a mead out of it. I think as a wine, lemongrass would work well too. I might have to try that someday.
Yeah.
But this is nice. Don't take us the wrong way. Anybody that made this along with us, you did good. This is something of quality, something that you'll want to keep. I'm really curious to see what this will be like in a year, because I think this could take some age and really become
and I think one
smooth
of
and amazing.
The cool aspects of this is that it's unique. It's not...
Oh yeah.
I've never heard of it before until we came up with it, so...
It really tastes like, and I hate to say it this way, it tastes like a cross between a nice, almost dry white wine and a good traditional mead. Because it does have almost the grape white wine flavors in there, the tartness, the acidity.
Sure.
Mixed with the sweetness of the mead.
Right.
So it tastes like one of those crappy white wines where they added honey to it to make mead. Almost, but it tastes better than that because it's got more complexity and it's not just like cheap, crappy white wine with honey in it.
I'm constantly trying to get Brian to not be so harsh on products such as those that he just mentioned.
I'm sorry, that's not mead.
So...
It's crappy white wine with honey added.
I apologize for Brian.
I don't apologize.
He does not apologize.
She can apologize for me all she wants. It's still crappy white wine with... It's not mead.
Anyway, Froot Loops. Delightful, refreshing, unique.
Yeah, this is good. I would do this again. I actually really do think I would do this again. I might even make it sweeter though. I would probably not do it as a wild ferment because this one, it feels like it needs the control of a good yeast. It needs that knowledge rather than taking a risk. So this is one that I probably wouldn't do a wild ferment on.
It was also, full disclosure time, annoyingly stressful.
Oh yeah.
Trying to, is it working? Is it not working? I don't know. Is it supposed to be doing that?
That's something that I want to explain to people is like, this especially is one that we've never done before. So I hoped it would work and I thought it would work. And then we make a video on it. And then a month later, you guys find out, did it work or didn't it work? And I'm starting to embrace the fact that even when it fails, it's still a great video for you guys to know about and see.
It's a learning process.
We did have one that we didn't show. We had all kinds of camera problems and every other stuff added to it that we didn't end up doing it. And that was the cider 3 ways video. A lot of people have asked. And I learned from that experience that, you know what? Whether the mead comes out good or not, as long as we used solid technique and taught you guys something or showed something that we learned, then we did what we were supposed to do. And I think that's kind of cool. So that's all I have to say, shockingly.
Enjoy. Thank you for watching.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you want to learn to grow and brew and take control of your food, hit the subscribe icon down below and don't forget to hit that little bell. That way you get notified of everything we do. And if you really like what we do, consider becoming a patron. Information in the descriptions of all of our videos. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
To learn to grow and brew and take control of your food, hit subscribe now and continue the conversation with us on social media. We have a YouTube group. We have Instagram.
YouTube group?
YouTube group. This is the YouTube group. What am I talking about? I don't know.
Want to try that again?
Alrighty. We needed bloopers anyway, so we're gonna have a legit bloopers.
Now we have more.
So are we starting from the top, or are we just doing...
Oh, just wherever you want is fine.
To learn to grow and brew